So we are at Woods Bees in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and we are about to pick up some hives. Trying on bee suits.
Oh, the largest just...
You look like you're ready to cook meth.
Just right. Oh.
There it is. I am ready to keep bees.
Chuck Wood, just from the name in case, Wood's Beekeeping. I've been a beekeeper since the 70s. It paid my way through my education through URI, and then I got back into it the last couple of years in a pretty big way.
Awesome.
So all over New England, we have we give classes. We do beginners classes, advanced classes. And my daughter Holly is the one who at the desk that you take a picture of, and we have a lot of fun here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Your frames, all of them have the frames in them with the plastic. Yeah.
Okay.
So you put this right on top. It's going to be, when you get your nuke, you're going to have it down here.
Yep.
You put this directly on top. The bees come up through here, through this plastic, down. Syrup it's a little angle to it.
Okay.
Insulates the hive, which you want, so you keep it warm. But you don't have the bees on at your face.
Right.
They're underneath this plastic.
Any danger of the bees like getting stuck in the syrup or anything like that?
It's only, they're in this.
Oh, I see.
Not in here.
I see.
See, they walk up and walk down. That's
Got
a
it.
big benefit of this one.
Cool.
So this goes on.
All right, we are good to go.
Let me show you what I've got. I don't intend for this to be a how-to on beekeeping. I have no idea what I'm doing. And so if you're following me instead of taking a class, then you're kind of dumb. So I'm going to put my camera up here. Hopefully you can see me. Let's see. Alright, that shows a good amount. Alright, so this is the outer cover. This is the thing that protects the hive from the elements. This is the inner cover. I will put this between any food that I'm giving them and their hive. That way they won't be building hive out in the area where they're getting food, I think. I'm not sure. But this is the inner cover. It's got this notch on it right here. And it's really funny because there are all sorts of debates among beekeepers about where the notch goes, whether it goes in the front or the back, or it's up or it's down. I'm going to opt to keep it in the back and down. That seems to be the most widely accepted use of the notch, so hopefully that will be good. These are what's called, I believe, honey supers. Each one holds 10 frames of foundation. This foundation is plastic with a wax coating. I'll see if this camera's got awful focus, but yeah, it's wax foundation, and the bees will build their comb off of this. This will also be what I'm scraping the honey off of. So once we get to that point, which will hopefully be maybe a little bit at the end of the year, we'll be able to scrape some honey off this. Now this is the queen excluder. What this is used for is workers can fit through this tiny grate, but the queen cannot. And so the idea is that the queen is going around the comb, laying its eggs, and they're storing honey, and they've got all this going on in roughly the same place. Like a frame will have both honey and eggs in it. And the idea with the queen excluder is that bees lay their honey in the upper parts of the comb, and so by excluding the queen, she can't lay any eggs, and the only thing they will do is place honey there. So we'll have the honey supers full of honey and no eggs, and that means when you extract it, you're not going to get any little larva bits in it. So that's what the queen excluder is for. Now these are deep supers. This is where they do all of their breeding. So this is going to be the heavier part. Or sorry, these are called the deep boxes. They're not deep supers. That doesn't make any sense. These are the deep supers. This is where they do all of their breeding. They will store some honey in there. All the honey in here is going to be exclusively for them. So I'm not going to harvest out of here. All I'm going to do is open it up, look for the queen bee, look for any mites or other such infestations, and just checking to see that the queen is alive. This is a deep frame, built like the honey frames, except it's larger. It's black, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just a different foundation that they used. But it's also just covered in wax. And yeah, so that's the deep frame. So I've got two of these. I'm going to start by filling out one on the bottom. Now this frame is only half filled out. you can ignore these green frames for now. But it's half filled out. The reason why is I'm going to be getting something called a nuke to put in here. A nuke is a small, it's short for like nuclear hive, I believe. And the idea is that it is a standalone hive that I will be buying, and I basically just take that out of the frame that's in, plop it in here, and they're good to go. These are called drone frames. These are for pest control. I'm not going to be using them this year. Once I start using these, I'll do a video on them, but right now they're just here. And then I've got this thing on the bottom called a reversible bottom board. It's got a little screen, and I can use the screen to check what sort of mites and bugs and stuff they're dropping down to the bottom there. It's very handy for determining the health of your hive. I actually don't think this is a reversible board, we'll see. But yeah, and then they've got this entrance over here that they fly in and out. I've also got a whole box of parts that I'll be going through too. So this is my smoker. What I do is I take pine needles and I stick them in here. There's a little doohickey that goes over the pine needles. But basically I stick them in there and I light them on fire. And then I put this lid on, and then I hold it by this and I squeeze it, and it'll blow smoke out of there. The smoke is used to calm the bees and good stuff like that. I'm going to practice with this a little bit, trying to get a nice cool smoke out of here. I've gotten lots of warnings from beekeepers that if you don't do this right, it's going to be blowing fire on your bees, and that does not make them happy. And you'll just end up with a bunch of dead bees. This is my frame hanger. The idea is that when I'm going into a hive to look for the queen or stuff like that, and I want to take out a frame and hang it on the side, what I can do is I can hang this from the side of the hive right there. I'll have to remove the stuff on top, but I can hang this from here, and then when I take out a frame, I can just stick it on these little metal prong things. It's just it makes things easier. This is my frame grabber. So the idea for this is that it makes it very easy to grab frames out of there once I loosen them up with the hive tool. Bees use a kind of glue they call propolis. It's kind of like wax, except they use it for like sealing cracks instead of building out comb and stuff like that. And so once I break the propolis, this is handy for reaching in there and grabbing up the frames. These are called entrance reducers. This is used for cutting down the amount of entrance space that bees have into their hive. And so this will be used in order to keep mice out of there maybe, or for decreasing how drafty it is, especially over the winter. You want it to be less drafty. It helps them stay warm. So the way that this will work is I've got this entrance right down here, and I'm probably doing this wrong, but we'll see. But that just goes like that, and then they only get in and out of there. It's a lot less drafty, and it helps them overwinter better. This is the bee brush. When I am removing the different boxes from the hive and I want to put it back, there are going to be bees crawling everywhere, and in order to prevent myself from crushing them, I'm going to use the bee brush to brush them away. It's just a normal brush, but it's gentle, very soft. These are called beetle blasters. I honestly have no idea how these things work. It will be an experiment. I will have to Google it and see, but yay for beetle blasters. These are pollen patties. They weigh about, I don't know, half a kilogram. And they are big things of pollen used to provide nutrients to the bees. I don't know if I really use these in the spring or not. We'll see. But here they are. Smells like pollen, or smells like tree sap really, but that's them. And what beekeeper would be complete without his hive tool? This is actually slightly different from any hive tool I've seen before. It's like a little crowbar thing. So when the bees seal their hive up with propolis, all of the little frames are going to be attached in there really well. And so I'm going to use this to get it out of there and pull it out. It's a very fragile process. I've only seen it done once before, but the big thing about it is that you don't want to make it crack or piss off the bees, because then they will be stinging you, and that's something that I'm trying to avoid. I would like to go the entire summer without getting stung once, which is probably not going to happen. So I'm very excited. I have both my hives right here. I still have a lot of work to do before I can set them outside and put bees in them. I have to paint them all so that the wood can stand up to being outdoors for long periods of time, and I've got to get some additional parts. I need a queen excluder, and I need some reinforcing on the inside so that when I use the hive tool to remove the frames, it doesn't destroy the hive.